This might be long and confusing, for which I apologize in advance. I am not in my senses, and what has happened in my family is going to break it apart forever. I had tried my best, I really had, to avert something like this from happening. But I guess some people never change, and no matter what you do and how hard you try, you can't stop them from doing what they want to do. My wife Tina, 45, female, is a cheater. I really want to say skank, but I won't, because I still need to pretend to have some respect for her, for my children. But she is one, and her actions have broken the family to no end. Tina and I have 3 kids together. Sienna, 23, female, Viola, 20, female, and Javier, 18, male. I love all 3 of them to death, and I have always tried to be a good father to them, even though Viola isn't my own daughter, aka biological daughter. She's a product of an affair that my wife had with her first crush, and I found out about it much later when Viola was 5 and Javier was 3. I had no reason to suspect Tina. We had a loving marriage, and there wasn't a dead bedroom problem as well. We were a happy couple and later a happy family. We went out to the movies, went on vacations, were involved with the kids. To me, it honestly felt that the first 7 years of our marriage were the honeymoon phase that never seemed to end. I never knew that when it did end, it would crash and crush my heart and soul in the process. To me, her cheating came out of the blue. I had never seen it coming, neither did I have a shred of evidence against her, and even when it did happen, I had no idea about it. It started at her workplace when Sienna turned 1. She said that she wanted to go back to working again. I wasn't against it because that had been our plan all along. Her job wasn't very demanding pre-pregnancy, and she had joined the same place, so I had just assumed that it would be easier for her to pick back up. But she told me it was not the same as before, and she needed to stay for longer hours to get her work done. I was foolish to believe her because this was just an excuse. She was cheating on me at that time with her co-worker Bobby. Bobby is the typical heartbreaker and homewrecker. He's charming and funny, and Tina just fell for his charms at a very vulnerable point in her life. The affair went on for over a year, and then she got pregnant. She had always been sure that it was Bobby's kid, but she didn't say a word to me. We were being careful at that time because we didn't want another kid so soon. She just spun the tale that it was basically God's will that we had gotten pregnant despite trying for it. I was happy too and believed all the crap that she fed me because I trusted her more than anything in the world. Viola was born, and soon enough Tina got pregnant again. We had always wanted a big family, but I had not thought that we would be doing it so soon. Both of us had thought initially that we would take some time between the kids to get pregnant, but all of it happened really soon. Finally, we had Javier, and by the time Javier turned 2, I had noticed, if not paid much attention to, the fact that Viola looked nothing like me. It was a running joke between Tina and me that Viola takes after her ancestors. She had very distinctive features that weren't like Tina's either. To me, it was a matter of luck. Maybe she looked like someone else in the older generations of the family. Genetics work in weird ways, and I have always been a trusting partner. To me, jumping the gun and accusing Tina of cheating on me was absurd. And to be frank, I wasn't even thinking along those lines. And Tina? Oh, hell, she was smooth with her lies. She never once gave away that there was something fishy. She was a great actor, still is, and she screwed my life. I started getting suspicious when I went to an office party of hers. I met Bobby there, and even though he was flirting with everyone, Tina had given me a heads up that she didn't like Bobby. I couldn't help but notice that Viola looked a lot like him. I thought that maybe I had too much to drink, so I didn't even raise my suspicions with Tina. However, I was unable to get this thought out of my head. It was eating me alive, and I knew that if I asked Tina about it, she would be very hurt that I could suspect her of not only cheating but also passing off another man's child as my own. I had a very good perception of her, and clearly she was not all that, as I would find later. I decided to go behind her back and get a DNA test done. I was 90% sure that Viola was mine, and I was only doing it to soothe my paranoia. I needed an answer, or rather, I needed to be sure that parentage and paternity weren't the answers to why she was different, and I would have been fine. The test came back and the answer just broke me from within. I had never even considered that she wasn't my daughter. And I knew I had to confront Tina. It was high time, and if I didn't do it then, I never would have. The conversation was not easy. It was many years ago, but I still remember every single word that she said. It was horrifying at that moment. But over the years, I realized that she did what cheaters do. At first, she denied, then she cried, and then she played the victim and deflected blame. Then she became angry. The entire drama happened a couple of times, and she told me that it was a one-time thing, and she felt lonely, that it was a mistake, and that she never told me because she was embarrassed and whatnot. Our fights went on for a couple of weeks. She gradually opened up and told me that the affair had lasted a year, and she had stopped it the minute she found out that she was expecting. She has not had any sort of contact with Bobby again, and she even requested her boss to change her team. She sounded apologetic, but I didn't believe her. There was nothing left to believe in anyway. I wanted to go for a divorce, but I ultimately decided against it. I loved Viola like my own, and I still do. To me, she is as much my child as the other two are, and I have never treated her differently. I can't. I know a lot of men might think differently and may think poorly of me, but I just couldn't bring myself to break the family and the home and allow my children to suffer because of my wife's transgressions. So with a heavy heart, I didn't go forward with the divorce, but my relationship with Tina had completely changed. I couldn't trust her, and it has been so many years now, but I still can't. She tried her best to win me back for a couple of years, and I think I eased back into the relationship as well. It wasn't like before, but I think I can call it functional. Although I had put forth certain conditions, and if she didn't agree to them, I would have gone for a divorce. I told her that we wouldn't tell the kids what had happened. She had to leave her job, and she could never get in touch with Bobby again. She agreed to everything I said, and she put up a performance of being the perfect wife for a couple of months, but I could never forget what she had done. A year later, she said that she wanted to start trying for a kid again. And I told her that all our promises about the kind of family we wanted were null and void. I did not want more kids with her, and things would remain as they were. She was hopeful that I would say yes, and she believed that another kid would help us bond more and move forward, but I was adamant. I did not want any more kids, and truthfully, I have been in a marriage only because of them. It has been years, and I still haven't forgiven Tina for what she did, and at times I felt bad about it. I felt bad that I wasn't able to forgive her, but now I know that it was the right thing to do because she doesn't deserve any forgiveness anyway. She is still a piece of crap, and she thinks she can take me for a ride, but not anymore. I am done. I have done my share of duties, and now I no longer have the bandwidth to deal with this. Yesterday, Tina came to me and said that she had to talk about something. She said she was pregnant and it wasn't mine. Not that it needed any clarification because we haven't been intimate in months. She said that she wanted to keep the baby, especially now, since even Javier will go to college and she needed something to do. It was as though she was informing me, and she expected me to be okay with it and roll with another affair baby. She probably thought that because I had been willing to accommodate and even love Viola as my own, I would do so here as well. I don't know, there was a certain arrogance in what she said, if not a certain surety. I didn't even ask her who it was, I just got up and left, and I walked and walked and walked. I cleared my head and decided I was going to leave her. I went back home and told her I was going to pack my stuff and go to a hotel for a couple of days till we figured out the divorce and settlement. She looked at me as if I was crazy. She came running to me saying that I was overreacting and we had done it once and could do it again. I have never felt so much disgust for another human being as I did for her in those few minutes. I couldn't believe that she would say something like this. I don't know what she took me for, but I do know that she had absolutely no respect for me, and that she wasn't even sorry for what she had done. With the way she was behaving, it was probably intentional. I told her that a divorce was the only option, and just because I had played along in the case of Viola doesn't mean I had given her a free pass to get knocked up by whoever she wanted, in the hopes that I would raise the kid. I told her that it was different with Viola because she is my daughter, just not biologically. I had found out about her paternity only after I had spent so many years with her. I had stayed because I loved the kids and I wanted to provide a happy, stable home for them. I didn't stay because I had given her the freedom to get pregnant. Me doing this for Viola wasn't me setting a precedent. I did it because I wanted to, for the girl. I told her to tell the kids that I had gone for some urgent work and would be back in a couple of days. I went to pack my stuff, but she ran behind me saying that I couldn't leave her. She had nobody. I had made her quit her job and she was bored and wanted a new baby. I told her that these were some of the most horrible excuses I had ever listened to in my entire life. If she was bored, she could have gotten a dog, not gotten pregnant. She said she was willing to terminate the pregnancy, but I told her that I had had enough. I had done my share of duties, and now that the kids were old enough, we had no obligation to pretend to be happy. I wasn't. And clearly I have never been able to make her happy because she keeps getting pregnant by other men. She was hysterical and said that she would do anything to make things right between us, but I told her that that ship had sailed. There was nothing she could do about it, and what was done was done. I'm typing this all out from the hotel, and she has been texting me to come back constantly. I sent a small text on the group chat myself saying that I had to leave urgently due to some work, and now I'm sitting here all alone wondering what else I could have done to make things better and to make things work. Maybe the better thing would have been to leave her all those years ago, because clearly I hadn't been able to move past it. Maybe all this emotional distance led to her straying again. I don't know why she did what she did, but I do know that I am at the end of my patience. I cannot deal with this anymore. I need out, or else I won't be able to respect myself again. And that is something I can't afford. I know the kids are going to be hurt, but they are old enough to handle themselves now. I have done what I could. I can't do anything more. Update 1. It has been 3 days since I left home. I have spoken to the kids individually and via the group chat. I know I will have to talk to them sometime, but right now I need to collect my thoughts and decide on my next course of action. I have spoken to a couple of lawyers and they say that the divorce should be swift and easy, but I am still worried. Tina, on her end, hasn't stopped pestering me. She keeps texting and calling, but I don't reply to them much. I don't know what came over me because I picked up her call today and she was hysterical. She said that she was sorry and that she had gotten an appointment fixed to terminate the pregnancy. I told her that that was completely her call, but if she was doing it in the hopes that we could save our marriage, that was completely out of the question. I told her that I was done with her and there was nothing that she could do to make it better. She told me that the kids were asking about me and kept asking her why she was crying and she didn't know what to say to them. I told her that she needed to get her crap together before we spoke to them. All of this was being done in order to protect them, and if that purpose wasn't being served, there was no point in being discreet anyway. She begged me to reconsider, even told me who the baby's father was, but I said I was not interested in knowing any details about her infidelity. One time was enough, but now that she had done it again, I really didn't have anything to say. God knows how many partners she had had. This came to light only because she got pregnant. So I really don't know how long she's been cheating on me for. She got mad at me and said I took her for some whore, and I said that I did. If she had 4 children from 3 men, all while being married to one man, I'm sorry to say, but she was a whore. She cut the call, and that was that. I can't deal with her drama anymore. I need to get lawyers involved as soon as possible, or she is going to drive me insane with all her crying and whining. Update 2. I have had a lot of comments, and most of them were of the opinion that Tina is going to try and influence the kids against me. I know she's low, but I had never thought she could go this low and involve the kids. Yesterday, Sienna gave me a call saying that Tina called her in hysterics and was saying that I was going to leave her. I told Sienna to stay out of it, but Sienna started blasting me, saying that I was a horrible man and father and how could I force her, Tina, into getting an abortion. I asked Sienna what Tina had said, and she said that apparently she had told all 3 kids that I was leaving her because she was pregnant and that I was icing her out and forcing her to terminate the pregnancy, which she didn't want to do. She had also told all the kids not to tell this to me because she didn't want me to know that they knew. Thankfully, Sienna's a bit of a hothead and she couldn't contain her rage and gave me a call. I told her that that wasn't the whole story and I wanted her to fly down so that I could tell all the kids what really happened. Viola and Javier are at home and Sienna flew down, and I begged Sienna not to tell her mother that this conversation between us had happened. She didn't understand what was happening, but she kept her word to me, and I went nuclear. Tina was a bitch, and I was going to take her down with me. No more making excuses for her, no more cutting corners for her. I was done with her lying and her sneaking around. And the last straw on the camel's back was that she involved the kids. I cannot and will not tolerate it. If she wants to play dirty, so can I. So today I went home. The kids were there. Tina was there. When Tina saw me, she pulled me aside and told me not to make a scene in front of the kids. I just smiled at her and told the family that I needed to talk to them. And I told them everything. I started by saying I had come to know that they were under the impression that I was leaving their mom because she got pregnant. I told them that this was partially true. I was leaving her because she was pregnant with another man's child. Before any of the kids could react, Tina started yelling. I told her that this was going to come out and I was not going to have her strain my relationship with my kids because she couldn't keep her legs closed. Her yelling didn't stop, so Sienna got up to deal with her. I told the kids that this was the truth of the matter and I didn't want to involve them in this. However, when I found out that she was bad-mouthing me, I had no option but to do this. They were shocked, obviously, and I really didn't want it to be this way, but Tina had left me no other option. Javier asked me sheepishly if it was possible for me to forgive her, just this once because he didn't want his family to break apart. I think that was the toughest moment of my life. I had the option of telling them that I couldn't bring myself to forgive her even once, or I could have told them the truth. I decided on the latter. I told him that this was not the first time it had happened, and one of the 3 wasn't mine as well. I had not said anything then because I didn't want the family and the kids to be affected and because I loved all of them the same. And then, in a small voice, Viola asked me if she was the affair baby. It broke my heart to see her that way, and I will never forgive Tina for making my baby feel this way. I said yes, but I also said that it did not mean that she wasn't my daughter. I had never thought of making it public, but now that it was, I told her that she had a right to know, and if she wanted to meet and connect with her biological father, she could do so. She hugged me and cried and said I was the only father she had and wanted. No one else would ever take that place. I cried too, and it was one of the toughest moments of my life. I have faced a lot of shit in my life, as you all already know, but this was something that completely devastated me. Tina tried to yank Viola away from me and said that I was lying, but the kids were not having it. It was funny how they turned on her the minute I gave my defense. It was as though even they knew that she was the one who was problematic. But honestly, it feels like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I can now finally be at peace and not worry about making it amicable. I'm going to purposely make it difficult for her. She had no reason to involve the kids, and now that she has destroyed the last ounce of goodwill that she had left. I have told the kids that I have kind of moved out and would be taking the rest of the stuff today. They said that they were going to help me pack so that we can spend some time together. Tina, for her part, has locked herself in her room and is busy with theatrics. All of this is just a way to get people to react so that she can play the victim and get sympathy. But all the kids are disgusted with her. Nobody has gone to check on her. And while I do think that it is a little harsh, I also wholeheartedly believe that she has brought this upon herself. She tried to be clever by half, and now it has come back to bite her in the ass, and the only person that she can blame for this fiasco is herself. I know this change is going to be hard on all of us, especially the children. I can only hope that they have the strength to take it in their stride. Their relationship with Tina is completely damaged for all time to come, and I feel bad for them because she might have been a horrible wife, but she was a good mother. We were a good unit together, the five of us, and she torpedoed all of that for nothing at all. Update 3. I have moved into a condo. I stayed in the hotel for a couple of days, but then found other arrangements. The kids helped me move my stuff and set up. The divorce papers have been served. I'm giving her half of everything, provided she be quick with it and let me live in peace. A lot of you suggested I sell the house because I would always be reminded of her presence, but I can't bring myself to do that. It's the house where my kids grew up, and that is of much more value than any heartache that Tina has given me. I'm going to buy her share of the house, but I have allowed her to live there for this month. She is struggling, looking for new accommodation according to Sienna, but I can't really help it. The baby's father wants nothing to do with her or the baby. And apparently she can't get an abortion either. So she is stuck with the consequences of her actions, and she has to deal with them alone at the extremely young age of 45. I think karma has hit her like a truck, and all at once. The kids don't really talk to her other than the usual. They haven't completely abandoned her, and I'm proud of them for that, but they keep their distance. She is a wreck. She's called her sister to help her navigate the situation. Her sister tried to talk to me to see if there was any way that we could turn this around and make it work, but I told her there was no way in hell that was happening. So that's what is happening on the divorce front. The other good thing is that Sienna, Viola, Javier, and I are planning to take a trip before Javier joins college. We've always planned to do this, and the kids say that they still want to go ahead with it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Things with Viola have been tough. She is very shaken by the divorce and revelation, and is in a very vulnerable and emotionally fragile state right now. I try my best to reassure her that things will never change between us and that I will always love her the same, but I think she feels guilty. She doesn't need to, of course. She's my best, and if I'm being honest, my favorite kid. I know this is an internal battle that she has to wage alone, but I will always stand by her and help and support her in whatever way I can. All in all, things are looking good, I would say. I had never thought that I would have to rebuild my personal life at 50, but I think there are some things that are just beyond our control. I am glad, though, that Tina decided to involve the kids without thinking it through. The entire process of divorce and moving out would have been much more difficult had my kids not been there to support me. If we had told them about an amicable divorce, they would have picked sides, and things would have turned sour between us. Now that they know the truth, they support me, and although I know that this has completely wrecked their relationship with their mom, I feel bad for them. About Tina, I feel smug. She thought that she could do and get away with anything, but now she's having to face the repercussions of her actions. It's alien territory for her, but she had it coming. All that she had done had come back to her in one way or another. It has just led to her complete isolation. She's all alone with no one to rely on, and it is all her doing. I'm starting a new chapter of my life now, and though it seems scary, I know I will come out on top. I have dealt with a lot, so I'm ready for whatever curveballs life throws my way. Thanks for all your advice and input, Reddit, and thanks for being a space for me to vent and rage and rant. God knows I needed it at that time. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.